Have you ever met someone who has plenty of money, but somehow sleeps like they're guarding a treasure chest from pirates? Every little sound outside the house. Who's there? Phone rings. Uh-oh. Who's asking for money? Grandkids visit. They're after my biscuits, and probably my inheritance. Then you meet another retiree who doesn't have millions. They live in a small home. They grow tomatoes in the backyard. They wave at every neighbor. They laugh so hard they almost spill their tea, and somehow they're happier. So what happened? Was it the money, or was it something much deeper? Carl Jung believed that many of our biggest struggles don't come from what's in our bank account. They come from what's happening inside our mind. And today, we're talking about 5 money mistakes retirees make that quietly steal something much more valuable than money, their peace of mind. Some of these mistakes look completely normal. In fact, millions of people make them every single day without even noticing. And I promise, number 5 surprises almost everyone, because it's not really about money at all. So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's have a little chat. Before we jump in, tell me something in the comments. If someone handed you $10 million tomorrow, what's the first thing you'd buy? Be honest. Some people would buy a beach house. Some would travel the world. Some would finally buy that chair they've been looking at for 3 years. You know, the one you keep saying, "I'll think about it." I love reading your answers. Sometimes they're funny. Sometimes they're touching. Sometimes someone says, "I'd pay my electricity bill." And honestly, that's just as real. All right, let's get started. Money mistake number 1. Thinking more money will finally make you feel safe. This one catches almost everybody, and it sounds so reasonable. People say, if I just save a little more, I'll relax next year. If I reach this number, then I'll stop worrying. But here's the funny thing. That number keeps moving. It's like chasing your own shadow. You take one step. It takes one step too. You finally save enough for 1 year. Now you want enough for 5, then 10. Then you're 93 years old, still saying, maybe I need just a little more. Sound familiar? I remember hearing about an older gentleman. Let's call him George. George worked for over 40 years, never missed work, never wasted money, fixed everything himself. If the toaster broke, George wasn't buying another toaster. Oh no. He was opening it with a screwdriver, talking to it like it had feelings. Come on, buddy. We've been together since 1998. George retired with more savings than he ever imagined. His children kept telling him, "Dad, go enjoy yourself. Take a holiday. Buy the fishing boat. Visit your friends. Eat at that nice restaurant." But George couldn't. Every time he thought about spending money, his stomach tightened. What if something happens? What if I need more? What if? Years passed. His savings grew. His worries grew too. One day his daughter asked him, "Dad, what exactly are you saving it for?" George looked at her and couldn't answer. Carl Jung talked about fear hiding in places we don't expect. Sometimes we think we're protecting ourselves, but really, we're protecting an old fear. Maybe we grew up during hard times. Maybe we watched our parents struggle. Maybe we remember days when every penny mattered. Our bank account changes, but our mind keeps living in yesterday. Isn't that interesting? Here's a little question. Have you ever opened your fridge, looked inside, closed it, walked away, then came back 5 minutes later, as if food magically appeared? We all do funny things without thinking. Money can be like that too. Sometimes we keep checking our balance, checking investments, checking prices, checking the news, and every check whispers, "Still not enough. Now don't misunderstand me. Saving money is wise, planning is wise, being careful is wise. But peace doesn't come from adding another zero. Peace comes from believing. I'll handle whatever comes. Those are two completely different feelings. Think about this. If someone needs $500 to feel safe, then gets $5,000, then $50,000, then $500,000, but never feels safe. The problem was never the number, it was the fear, and fear is greedy. Fear always wants dessert. Have you noticed how children enjoy simple things? Give a child a cardboard box. Suddenly it's a castle, a spaceship, a pirate ship. Meanwhile, adults buy expensive exercise equipment, then use it to hang clothes. Life has a strange sense of humor. Sometimes retirement is the first time people slow down enough to hear their own thoughts, and some of those thoughts aren't very friendly. What if I lose everything? What if I become a burden? What if? That constant worry quietly steals today's happiness, not tomorrow's, today's. Here's something I want you to think about. Imagine someone gave you two choices. Option 1, an extra $100,000, but you worry every day. Option 2, enough to live comfortably, and you wake up smiling. Which one would you choose? Most people say the second, yet many spend years chasing the first. Funny how our minds work. My grandmother used to say something that made me smile. She'd hide money everywhere. Inside books, under towels, inside old handbags. One day she forgot where she'd hidden it. She spent the whole afternoon looking for money that she herself had hidden. When she finally found it, she celebrated like she'd won the lottery. She'd literally surprised herself. Money is useful, very useful, but it was never designed to replace peace. That's an inside job. And Carl Jung believed that until we face our hidden fears, no amount of money can silence them. So here's today's little challenge. Not a big one, just a small one. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Not, what am I saving for? But, what am I afraid of? Sometimes that single question changes everything, and I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever caught yourself worrying about money, even when everything was actually okay? Or maybe you've learned how to let go of that fear. Share your story below. Someone reading your comment might really need to hear it. Because coming up next, we're going to talk about a mistake that looks responsible. Everyone praises it. Families even encourage it. But quietly, it steals years of happiness from many retirees, and most people never realize it until it's too late. Money mistake number 2, saving every penny. But forgetting to live now. This one is a little sneaky, because on the outside, it actually looks responsible. People even praise you for it. Oh, they're so careful with money. They never waste a penny. They're so disciplined. And discipline is a wonderful thing, until it quietly turns into fear wearing a nice suit. Have you ever noticed there are people who refuse to replace shoes? Even when the shoes have started talking, you know the ones. Every step sounds like flap, flap, flap. And they still say, these have another 5 years in them. Or someone refuses to turn on the heating because they're saving money. Meanwhile, they're wearing 3 jumpers, 2 blankets, and walking around the house looking like a sleepy polar bear. Now, saving money isn't the problem. The problem is forgetting what you saved it for. Think about it. You worked hard. You woke up early. You missed birthdays because of work. You skipped holidays. You packed lunches while everyone else bought takeaway. You earned that retirement. But sometimes people retire and keep living like they're still preparing for retirement. It's almost like finishing a marathon, crossing the finish line, then saying, you know what, I'll just keep running. Why? The race is over. Enjoy the view. I once heard about a lady named Margaret. She loved flowers. Every spring she'd walk past a little flower shop. She'd stop, smile. Look at the colourful baskets outside. Then she'd whisper, maybe next year. Next year became another year, then another. One afternoon her granddaughter bought her a small basket of flowers. Margaret looked at them with tears in her eyes. Do you know what she said? I don't know why I kept telling myself I couldn't. It wasn't the money. She had enough. She had simply forgotten that she was allowed to enjoy it. Carl Jung believed many of us live according to old stories. Stories we don't even realize we're carrying. Maybe somewhere inside, you still feel guilty spending money on yourself. Maybe you believe everyone else deserves comfort, except you. Maybe deep down, you still see yourself as the young parent trying to stretch every pound. But life has changed, and maybe your story needs to change too. Now don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying spend wildly. Don't go buying 12 garden gnomes because someone on YouTube said, enjoy life. 1 garden gnome is enough. 2 if they're friends. 12. Now you've started a tiny village. The point is balance. Peace lives in balance, not in extremes. Here's something funny. Have you ever gone to a restaurant, looked at the menu, ordered the cheapest thing, then secretly wished you'd ordered what you actually wanted? Then you spend the whole meal looking at your friend's plate. That looks nice. I almost ordered that. Almost. Sometimes we do that with life itself. We spend years choosing the cheapest version of happiness, when maybe, just maybe, we've already earned something better. So let me ask you, when was the last time you spent money on something that genuinely brought you joy? Not because someone told you to, not to impress anyone, just because it made your heart smile. Maybe it was a trip, a nice meal, a new hobby, a gift for yourself. Tell us in the comments. I'd love to hear it, because happiness has a funny habit. It spreads. And speaking of spreading, the next mistake spreads through families faster than gossip at a family reunion. Everyone thinks they're helping, but sometimes they're quietly stealing someone else's peace. Money mistake number 3, trying to rescue everyone financially. Now, before anyone gets upset, helping family is beautiful. It's one of the greatest joys in life. But there's helping, and then there's carrying everybody on your back until your knees start sending complaint letters. Some retirees become the family emergency fund. Phone rings. Hi, Mum. Hi, Dad. I just need a little help. Again, and again, and again. At some point, you're not helping anymore. You're sponsoring adulthood. Now imagine this. You're finally sitting down with a nice cup of tea. Your favorite program is about to start. Phone buzzes. You already know. It's never, we just wanted to tell you we love you. It's usually, so, funny story. Whenever someone starts with, funny story, your wallet gets nervous. Here's the truth. Sometimes saying yes to everyone means saying no to your own peace. Carl Jung believed healthy relationships need healthy boundaries. Without boundaries, resentment quietly moves in. And resentment is a terrible roommate. It complains about everything. I remember hearing about a retired couple. They kept helping their grown children. Car repairs, bills, loans, school fees, more loans, holiday money, then another emergency. One day they realized something. They hadn't been on holiday themselves in nearly 10 years, not because they couldn't afford it, because every extra pound went somewhere else. One evening the husband looked at his wife and said, "You know, we're always helping everyone else live their dreams. When did we stop living ours?" That question stayed with me. Helping people is wonderful, but don't forget, you matter too. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give your children is showing them that retirement can actually be peaceful. That it's okay to enjoy the life you've worked so hard to build. If you've ever struggled with saying no, you're definitely not alone. Let me know in the comments. Just type, "I've been there, I promise." You'll be surprised how many people understand exactly what you mean. And now, we're getting into the last two mistakes. These are the ones that quietly steal joy, even from people who have plenty of money. Money, mistake number 4. Comparing your retirement to everyone else's comparison. What a thief. Years ago, people compared themselves to neighbors. Now, people compare themselves to strangers they've never met. One retired couple is traveling through Italy. Another is cruising the Caribbean. Someone else has just bought a shiny new car. And suddenly you're sitting on your sofa thinking, "Am I doing retirement wrong?" Here's a little secret. People usually post their best moments. Nobody uploads a picture saying, "Here's me arguing with the washing machine because it shrank my favorite jumper," or "Here's my garden after the squirrels declared war." Real life is wonderfully messy, and that's okay. Carl Jung believed your journey is uniquely yours. The moment you start living someone else's story, you slowly stop living your own. Maybe your perfect retirement isn't traveling the world. Maybe it's reading a good book, fishing on a quiet lake, watching your grandchildren play, growing vegetables, having tea with an old friend. Those moments don't always make headlines, but they often make the happiest memories. So stop measuring your life with someone else's ruler. It never fits. Money, mistake number 5. Believing your worth depends on your wealth. This may be the biggest mistake of them all. Many people spend 40 or 50 years introducing themselves through work. I'm a teacher. I'm an engineer. I'm a manager. I own a business. Then retirement comes. The job title disappears. The paycheck stops. And suddenly they wonder, who am I now? Carl Jung spent much of his life encouraging people to discover who they really are beneath their roles. Because you are not your salary, you are not your pension, you are not your investments, you are not the size of your house, you are the kindness you've shown. The wisdom you've gained, the lives you've touched, the love you've shared. Think about the people you admire most. Do you admire them because they had the biggest bank account? Probably not. You remember how they made people feel, the neighbor who always smiled, the grandfather who made everyone laugh, the grandmother whose kitchen always smelled amazing, the friend who showed up when life got hard. That's real wealth. Money makes life easier, but character makes life meaningful, and when those two work together, that's a beautiful thing. So today we've talked about 5 money mistakes that quietly steal peace of mind. Not because money is bad. Money is simply a tool. It's our relationship with money that shapes our happiness. Remember these 5. Number 1. Thinking more money will finally make you feel safe. Number 2. Saving every penny but forgetting to enjoy the life you worked for. Number 3. Trying to rescue everyone financially while forgetting yourself. Number 4. Comparing your retirement with everyone else's. And number 5. Believing your value depends on your wealth. Carl Jung once encouraged people to look inward, because the greatest treasures aren't always found in a bank account. Sometimes they're found in a peaceful heart. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 mistakes do you think is the most common? Or have you learned a lesson about money that changed your life? Share your thoughts in the comments. You never know. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. If you enjoyed spending this time with me, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next conversation. Thank you for being here. Take good care of yourself. Take good care of the people you love. And remember, The richest retirement isn't always the one with the biggest bank account. It's the one filled with peace, purpose, laughter, and people who make life worth living. I'll see you in the next video.